Okay, guys, what's up? Hey, Bingo. Hey, sweetie. I gave her a bath today, and ever since, she's just been running circles around the house. I don't know how, because, I've given her a few showers. I'm going to try and start giving her showers weekly now, because I think she's kind of getting to a point where I think she needs showers, frequently, once a week. So I'm going to start doing that. But in the past, Meadows just, I got in the shower with her, rinsed her off, washed her, and Meadow would just shower at the same time. And Bingo would do fine. And I've never, usually every single morning I leave the bathroom door open when I shower before work, because Bingo's needs to kind of be in my presence a little. She freaks out if she's not. So I leave it open and she's fine. Today, I don't know how she knew I was going to give her a bath, but as soon as I turned on that shower, she started flipping out. She was running around, but after I rinsed her and dried her off and then took her out of the tub, it was pretty hilarious because her paws are still a little wet. Couldn't get them super dry. And you know dogs, after you give them a bath, they're just running fucking frantically. And the hardwood floor is, it's a little slick. And she just she'd run and she'd try and take a sharp turn and she'd just fucking biff it. And then she'd get right back up and do it again. She was just, I was like, Bingo, calm down. I'm like, your paws are wet. You're going to keep fucking slipping, losing traction. You're going to hurt yourself. And obviously dogs are just clumsy. They're going to keep doing it. They don't really know better, but it is so funny to watch. But what you guys have all been waiting for, what our big news was. So the big news is I left my coach. And I don't think it's really the end of the world and something that's going to be judged by people. I think for me, the decision came down to, I felt like I had absorbed all the knowledge I could learn from him. And I'm not going to look to getting another coach here for a little bit more, I think I'll probably get a coach whenever, next time. I probably will hold off on getting a coach until whenever I get to another point that I feel like, okay, I'm kind of ready to compete. Then I'll find a coach, but I'll want to find a coach that I can stick with during my prep and stick with afterwards. And maybe if I come to a point where I feel like I'm struggling to put on size and I'm struggling with, nutrition and whatnot, I'll hire another coach and go from there. But I just kind of got to the point where I had questions that I felt like he wasn't really able to give me a full answer on. And me and him were just, obviously you want a coach who can he could be like, I think this, and they can be like, yeah, I see why you think that, but let's do this. And it's good to kind of go back and forth and discuss ideas and meet in the middle. But I guess what I was really struggling with was, so obviously I was never really a fan of the way he did his workouts. And even on a lot of his workouts, I'd kind of do it my own way. I would take the workout he wanted me to do and I would kind of change the rep range. But he's more of just pick up a lighter weight, do it for 5 sets for around 20 reps. And for me, that's not the way I train. I don't mess with that style of training at all. I think it's dumb, silly, stupid, whatever you want to call it. I don't agree with it. And was his personal belief. And I was like, I get that, all the power to you. But if I don't like training like that, because I feel like I'm not getting anything out of my workout. I feel like I'm just going in there, not really pushing myself. I'm more of a 3-set person. Fucking give it my all. Pick up a heavy dumbbell or a heavy cable, go 8 to 12. That's my style of training. But he didn't really agree with it. And I was like, that's okay. Can we meet in the middle somewhere? I'll add in an extra set, but I'll just do a drop set on the 4th. And we were kind of coming to an agreement. And then, so last week we called and we're discussing, I was like, he was like, I think it's about time to switch up your split again. And I'm like, okay, totally for it. What do you want me to do? And he's all I finally talked him into just going push-pull legs, because I kind of feel like, obviously sometimes there's things I need to start prioritizing a little bit, but I feel like I'm still at a point where it's instead of being oh my God, I need to focus on this, I'm I need to focus on everything in general, and maybe this is lacking, so I need to add a little more volume there. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm not at a position where I feel like I'm ready to be oh, I have good chest, but my triceps could get brought up a little, so let's do less chest volume and a lot of triceps. I'm kind of at a point where I'm okay, maybe my triceps need to grow. Instead of lowering my chest volume, I'll just raise my tricep volume. Or like, oh, hey, I need more quad work. Instead of being like, okay, let's start prioritizing hamstrings less. I'm like, no, let's keep it the same, just more hamstring volume, same quad volume. You know, it's kind of little things like that that I personally think. So like now going forward, I'm going to keep doing push-pull legs, but I'm going to do it, you know, more the way I like it. And when I went into getting a coach, I didn't really want a coach who was going to give me lifting advice. I mean, I kind of wanted a coach who's like, hands me a nutrition plan, goes over like my check-ins, is like, you're looking great, we need to change something, and kind of like gives me advice on, you know, lifting, but I got to do my workouts. But if they could kind of give me advice, lead me to the right direction, like, hey, you ever tried this movement? Or, hey, have you ever thought about doing this many sets and reps? And maybe they could see my workouts, kind of give me a little bit of feedback. But I wasn't a fan of him giving me a whole workout, because there was a lot of movements he'd always put in that I was not a fan of at all. And so during our meeting, I kind of told him, I was like, hey, I don't like these movements you've put in. So I was kind of just swapping them out on my own for something very similar. And I'd like to keep in these movements. I've been prioritizing this and this. And he's like, okay, blah, blah, blah. And then it fucking changes my workout split. And it's like kept none of the things I said I really liked. Put in all the movements I said I wasn't a fan of, didn't really feel that great. Kind of felt like I got a little more hurt out of it than I did actually benefits. And so I was just kind of like, what the fuck? And it was just kind of annoying. And then I remember a few weeks back, one thing that made me a little mad was I was like, hey, I think I'm ready for maybe a few more meal options. And he's like, bodybuilding's just meant to be boring, you know? He's like, it'll suck sometimes, but we don't need to throw any more meal substitutes in, because you just got to get used to eating beef and noodles or chicken and rice or beef and rice or whatever. And I was kind of like, I don't really agree with that, you know? I was like, I'm not really a fan of that. And obviously I'm not going to throw my coach's name out there. I don't want to slander against him, nothing against him. I thought he was a good coach. But also it's just one of those things where it's like, sometimes getting a good coach is hard. He was a good coach, he was. Sometimes it's just like more like, hey, you need to listen to me, I know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. But also just like looking at a lot of his clientele, like it was just a lot of people that were like doing a weight loss thing, or people who were skinny trying to gain muscle. It wasn't really anybody that was like really a hardcore bodybuilder. So next time I'm looking to get a coach, I want to find someone who's got some more legit bodybuilding clientele. And it's also another thing where it's like a lot of coaches nowadays try and shove in as many fucking clients as they can. And I feel like when you're trying to do that, that's when things get a little risky and a little tricky, because you've got too many people that are texting you, asking for new meals, new workouts, and too many people you can pay attention to. And I feel a lot of the times, and I've seen this before, and I think I 100% agree with that, if you are actively pursuing bodybuilding, I don't really think you should be coaching, because then it's like you're giving it your all into bodybuilding and you're trying to follow a diet and whatnot, or maybe you're cutting for a show. It's like, how are you supposed to be able to give others that attention and effort when you're already put forth a lot of attention and effort towards bodybuilding and competing? So I feel like it's always a tricky little bit of a situation. But, you know, yeah, at the end of the day, I was kind of just like, I feel like I've absorbed as much as I can. And I feel like me and him aren't really agreeing on things right now. And I feel like at the end of the day, you know, obviously a coach is a lot of help. But I was kind of like, I feel like if there's certain little things I do, I think I can do them. And I don't want, you know, him holding me back from like wanting to make some nutritional changes or changes to my workouts. I was like, because obviously there's a point where someone's like, obviously they know better what you need. But I feel like I'm at a point in my career where it's like, really what I need the most is, you know, I need like to work on everything overall. And so I came up with my routine. I'm using this app called like Lift Heavy or something. And you can like make a schedule workout. So it's like I've got to push A, pull B, pull A, legs A, and then push B, pull B, legs B, and all workouts are very similar. It's just like, you know, I might switch out a movement or two on my second day, and then we'll stay consistent with that for like 3 or so months. And then I might be like, okay, I'm ready for a change, and maybe swap out a few movements, try some new shit, or be like, hey, kind of noticing, looking at my physique, I'm noticing I'm a little lacking in my traps. Let's just up my trap volume a little bit. And that's what I'll do. But, you know, really just depends on how we're looking, and I'm pretty excited for it. I've been kind of thinking about it for a while, because I remember I was talking to a guy I know named Kyle at the gym, and I was kind of telling him, I'm like, yeah, I don't know how much longer I see myself sticking with my coach. I was like, it's just, I don't think we're really agreeing on a lot right now, and I feel like I've just gotten the knowledge that I was able to get from him. And he was like, once you've absorbed all the knowledge you can from a coach, just, you know, move on to another one, or take a little break to just do your own thing, and then look for other coaches while you do that. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. And it was just kind of like, well, I think I'm ready to move on in a new direction. It's like a high school girlfriend, you know? You guys both love each other, you're super in love, and then maybe things start to kind of grow apart, you start to disagree, and then it's like, it's just the best that both of you let each other go. Obviously kind of a silly comparison, but you know what I mean. So yeah, just kind of a personal decision. I'm not gonna shout out my old coach or nothing. I'm sure if you did some digging, you could find out who my old coach was. Wouldn't be that hard. We just didn't agree on much, I guess, and that's okay. You know, everyone's got their own opinion. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I just didn't agree with much on him. So my current plan going forward, we're just gonna focus on everything, you know, a full round circle. We're gonna go in, lift as hard as we can, as heavy as we can, give it intensity. Obviously working on my rep counting now. I've noticed after looking back on videos, and I've been getting a lot of comments, they're like, you like my reps were actually cut in half. I don't know what it is, but I seriously stopped counting. Well, today I hit my first push A, and during the workout, instead of being like, I got this many reps, I was just going back, watching my footage, actually counting my reps. And so it kind of made me realize on a few things, like probably trying to progressive overload a little too quick, and I think I just can't keep good count during a set. I just gotta watch the video after the set and be like, okay, that's what I seriously got. This is what I need to try and do for my next 2 sets, you know. Do I need to maybe lower the weight or do this or that, you know? And we'll also have to kind of build a weight up in my new app, kind of figure out where I'm set with everything. So yeah, but then nutrition wise, guys, okay, I'm gonna switch up my meals probably a little bit. That old Macro Factor app I used to use, gonna use it again. And so I was kind of wanting to take it a little slower, you know, bulk a little slower. Instead of trying to push like 1.5 pounds a week or 2 pounds, I'm just trying to push like half of a pound. I'm not in a rush, right? I'm trying to do a marathon. I'm not trying to sprint to the finish line, get kind of chubby again. I'm like, I'd rather just take it slow. And my coach didn't really agree with that. He's like, you just got to push it, you won't get fat. I'm like, dude, every single time I send you a check-in, I look a little chubbier. I'm like, I am getting a little fat. I've been getting a little fat. I'm like, so I'm kind of like, well, let's just cut my calories down a little bit, you know? And so he didn't really want to. He's like, you just got to keep pushing, you won't get fat. I'm like, yeah, but I'm literally getting fat. And I feel like he's also just kind of one of those guys that wants to like hype up his clients. And I'm a coach I'm not a coach. I'm a type of person who I'd rather have somebody be straight up and honest with me, you know, just straightforward, honest, just fucking pierce my heart with a bullet. Hey dude, kind of look like shit. Let's get at it. Or let's do this or that, you know. That's kind of more the person I am. I prefer honesty. I think honesty is a great virtue. It's just what I prefer. So going off of that, guys, my current plan is, I think, off of going where I'm at and where I want to reach, I kind of just put my goal at like 200 pounds ish, and I had it so it's like what am I trying to think here, and I had it set so I could put it on like a little under a 0.5 pound a week. I'm just trying to take my time, not rush it, and it had me at like 2,100 calories, like 232 grams of protein, 48 grams of fat, and like 300 grams of carbs, which is like right, that's kind of where I set my macros. Like I did like the coach, because you can kind of like have a coach like set your calories in the app, not an actual coach, like an AI coach, but then you can kind of adjust your macros a little bit. And I kind of adjusted them a little similar to how my coach had them, but kind of tweaked it in my own little way. So we're, you know, like I'm thinking like, okay, I want to keep in my breakfast sandwiches, I want to keep in my yogurt. I'm like, but I kind of miss my old shake, so maybe I'll do a thing where it's like every now and then I'll have my shake again or whatever, you know. I like those shakes. And then for lunch, I'm like, okay, what if instead of having the huge burrito wrapped tortillas, I get those old smaller tortillas I used to have and have 2 quesadillas with chicken and cheese and rice for lunch again, or just beef and cheese and rice again. And maybe for my dinner, instead of just eating ground beef and noodles, I'll find something a little more entertaining. Like I'll have, I don't even know, I'll figure something out. Maybe I'll have a burrito for dinner or some sort of different carb source. Maybe instead of eating beef and noodles, I'll have chicken breast with a little bit of rice, and I'll have some fruits on the side or something. You know, I want to get creative with it is what I'm trying to say. And I was kind of ready for a change nutrition wise. And I think I know a lot now, and I've asked a lot of questions, and I've learned a lot on past mistakes via like when I was cutting for my first show or when I was trying to reach 200. I've kind of learned like, hey, it's a marathon, it's not a race. You know, take things slow, try and eat whole foods, high protein, high carb, low fat. Don't push it too hard. Just keep yourself at a good pace. Make sure you're gaining weight every week. So I'll only weigh in like every Saturday. And to keep myself like consistent wise, I'm just gonna start posting on my Instagram story every week. I'm gonna just like a kind of like a files of like, hey, this is me week by week by week. Here's a back shot. Here's a side chest. Yeah. Something along those lines. Or every single week I'll just post like a morning check-in, just me in the morning every Saturday, fucking picture of the scale weight, and then just a video of me running through a few poses is kind of what I'm thinking of doing, because I feel it would kind of help me lock in a little bit. And you know, that's the nice thing about a coach is consistency. It's like every single Saturday I'm gonna have to check in, show my weight. And without that, it's like, obviously I'm pretty dedicated, but without it, it's a little bit, it definitely will be a little harder for sure to be like, oh, here's my weight, gotta be eating my meals and everything. But I feel like I'm at a point where it's like, you know, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, right? I'm like, this is it. Like, I fucking love this shit. I want to get fucking huge. I want to be able to step on a Mr. Olympia stage one day. I want to be able to compete and step toe to toe with some of the best in the world. That's my goal, and that's the goal I'm chasing. That's the goal I'm fucking slowly running after. So yeah, but you know, I'm used to long distance races, guys. Used to be a cross country runner, so I'm used to, you know, I'll take my time. I'm not rushing. I'm gonna slowly take my time to race to the finish line. And until then, we're gonna keep uploading every single day. And we're coming up on a 1-year anniversary, so I'm super happy for that, guys. Let me know what you'd like to see for that. But let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are, what you think I should do. Maybe give me some recommendations. I don't think anybody's really going to give 2 shits that I dropped my coach. I didn't really think it was a big deal either. Feel like it's pretty normal. It's just being a grown-up, you know. Didn't really want to do it, but I felt like it was kind of right. It was kind of around the right time. I was ready for new beginnings, and I'm kind of excited to do things my way for a little bit, and maybe possibly in the future we'll look for a coach again. But until tomorrow, guys, I will see you for push number A.